Wrangling an addictive personality is something you need to figure out how to do if you have one, or else it's going to destroy you. That is such a true statement, and almost nobody realizes it. And my word choice there was very intentional. I used the word wrangle because once you understand how to work with your addictive personality and wrangle it into place, it will work for you instead of against you. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about my journey with my addictive personality and some of the lessons I learned along the way. So, the first time I ever heard the term addictive personality, it was being applied to me because I loved to play video games so much when I was young. People would say to me, "You're addicted to video games," and I kind of was, like they were when I was between the ages of 8 and 13. They were like all I would think about, all I wanted to do. Whenever I got home from school, I would sprint to the Xbox and just grind away on whatever game I was working on at the time. And so, yeah, effectively, I was addicted. It was pretty much all I thought about. It was all I wanted to do. It could be hard to focus on other things at times. I would even alienate my real life friends to play video games. So eventually, people started telling me, "You're addicted to this. And it's because you have an addictive personality." And I was like, "What the heck does that mean? An addictive personality?" So I just kind of shrugged it off. I thought it was kind of cool. I was like, "Heck yeah, man. I have more drive to play video games and get better than everybody else. That's awesome. I bet you wish you had an addictive personality." Um, and then, and then as I got older, I started to realize that my addictive personality didn't only apply to video games, but other stuff too that was oftentimes less savory. So, pretty much the only addiction I had until I became a young adult was video games. And then I picked up vaping, right? So nicotine, I just loved the feeling of nicotine. I still do, but I'm not addicted to nicotine anymore. I just loved the head rush it gave you and how great you felt when you did it. So I started doing it a lot, right? Like it started out as one of my friends. He had a Juul, and I was like, all right, let me hit that thing. And, I realized how good it felt. And then I got my own after like a year of just leeching off my friends. And then it got really bad. I met my wife. And at the time, she was big into vaping. So we were just like fiending off each other and exacerbating the problem. And I developed an addiction to vaping. So my addictive personality led me into this trap, this addictive cycle where I couldn't break free from nicotine. And eventually my wife did. My wife has the opposite of an addictive personality. Um, and she doesn't get addicted to anything ever. So at some point in time, she was like, "Hey, we should stop vaping. It's probably going to kill us like 20 years earlier than we would normally die." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, like I can stop when I want." And then she was like, "Okay, do it." I was like, I don't want to. It's not that I can't. I just don't want to. So, um, she let it slide for a while. And at some point in time, she was like, "Okay, now you need to stop. Like, you need to stop because I don't want to be married to somebody who's gonna die before they see their grandkids." And I was like, "Ah, crap. Oh, okay, fine. I'll try to stop." So I did. I tried. Keyword tried. And I failed. I couldn't break free from nicotine. Every week or so, I would be like, "Man, I could really use a hit," and I would just cave. I would take a hit, and then the cycle would start all over again, and the cravings would come back, and it was miserable. And I would get so mad at my wife for taking this away from me. It was such a miserable cycle and so negative for my life overall, and it sucked. It sucked being addicted, needing it, requiring it. It really did. Eventually, I broke free from that, but it wasn't after the first try of breaking the addictive cycle. And I really do attribute that to my addictive personality. Being so susceptible to developing a strong nicotine addiction, I think was largely due to my addictive personality. And, I just took me a while to come to terms with that. And so the next thing I got addicted to was gambling. So great, jumping from nicotine to gambling. And I started playing poker, just a lot of poker. I wanted to be a professional poker player. I still love playing poker, but I wanted to go all in and be professional. Uh, and now I knew I couldn't because poker is so unstable. Like you have bad months where you lose money instead of make money as a professional, and that just doesn't work if you have people depending on you. Regardless, I was so enamored with poker that I spent every single moment thinking about it. And when I wasn't thinking about it, I was studying it. And when I wasn't studying it, I was playing it. I was addicted to the dopamine rush of winning money. And my wife, at some point in time, was like, okay, this is too much now. Like, you need to back off the poker because it's taking you away from me. And I was like, just leave me alone. I'm trying to do something for our future. I'm going to make us money. I'm going to make us money. Like, you see, there's a common theme here where I justify my addiction. Um, and it's only after I break free from it that I can actually see that I was just justifying so that I could enable it. Eventually, she forced me to stop, essentially. Like, she would, and she wasn't doing anything wrong, but what she was doing was making it so miserable for me to give all my time to poker that I had to stop. I wasn't willing to destroy my relationship with my wife for poker. I just wasn't. So that you could probably call that like a low grade gambling addiction because some people are addicted enough to do that. And that's like a severe addiction, right? So after my second bout with like a real addiction, I came to terms with the fact that I can't I can't really dabble with addictive activities like a lot of other people can do. It just doesn't work out too well for me. After I figured out that I can't really dance around addictive activities like a lot of other people can, it helped me. So that's an important thing to realize if you have an addictive personality. You're not the same as your friends and they might be able to do something addictive that you can't just do casually, and it's okay. It's good to know that, and that's fine. It's just the reality of the fact that you're different than your friends, and that's perfectly fine. So once I figured out I had an addictive personality, I noticed I could get addicted to working, essentially, because I was drawing from the theoretical dopamine of accomplishing whatever task I was working towards or whatever goal I was working towards, not task. And so that enabled me to become addicted to the grind. And then I realized suddenly my addictive personality was working for me. This thing that I had been fighting for so long and viewed as just this curse was now suddenly beneficial to me. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. So what you do, right? If you're in a position like this, is you get yourself addicted to the dopamine of chasing success. And that will help you. That will help you achieve your goals. And so that's what I mean by wrangle your addictive personality. You wrangle it, you get control of it, and you make it work for you, just like a beast of burden that you would wrangle otherwise. That's what you do. Now, it can be difficult to do that because A, it requires self-control, and B, it requires not um, engaging in like those super mega dopaminergic activities like gambling or even smoking, right? So if you and this has to do with how dopamine works. If you are doing activities that produce a ton of dopamine consistently, and then you try to work, you're not going to get nearly as much dopamine released in your brain from doing good work and getting closer to your goals. It's just, it won't compare to that high you had where you won $500 gambling or drinking and smoking and having a great time with the boys, like it will not compare. You're gonna be like, man, work sucks compared to what I was just doing, those super fun activities. So what you have to do is you have to do a dopamine fast for a little while if you wanna make this work. And Andrew Huberman has a great talk on this. This is kind of stuff that I figured out by myself, and then once I kind of had like a theory for how it worked, I watched Andrew Huberman's video. It just kind of like popped up in my feed by chance, and it completely confirmed everything that I thought was true. And now I'm trying to pass that on to you. So what you do, son, if you find that I passed my addictive personality down to you, is first you control it. So you don't let it have control over you. But instead, you make sure that you don't have any out of hand addictions and that you are always in control. The next step is to get it to work for you if you so choose. If you don't want to do that, I mean, that's fine too. But again, the really important part is to not let any particular behavior that you like to do get way out of hand and exert too much control over you, because truly that's a recipe for disaster and you must avoid that. All right, really quickly, I want to thank everybody for watching. If anybody has any video ideas or questions or topics they'd like advice on, please feel free to leave those in the comments. I'd love to make a video just for you. Furthermore, let me know what you think about the campaign gameplay this time around. Let me know if you found it less entertaining than the multiplayer, or even if you preferred the zombies in the last video. So